South Africa, like many nations, is supposed to be having SMMEs as its backbone, right? We have high numbers of young people in this country. We should be in a position to effectively grow SMMEs.
I think that it's not a fundamental thing to have, that you have to have funding.
Mm-hmm.
Funding is a big part of your business, but you can start without it as well.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of initiatives that you can approach. There's the Innovator Trust that you can approach for assistance for things that you do need, how to run your finances properly, how to read your financials.
Right.
Also, where I found that I needed at the time when I started my business is the emotional intelligence. They actually work on you as an entrepreneur,
right,
so that they can, skill you. So that you can mentor your staff. It was very difficult for me, being in the security business, to play with the bigger players. Because I didn't have all the accreditations and things, I had to start small. I then focused on more homeowners and started working,
right,
doing their cameras and the gate motors and things, and started building references like that. These big corporates, they do have a portion that they have to use for small business.
Mm-hmm.
So I approached them and said, look, I don't have this, but can you put me in your program in order to get
where I want to
go.
Right.
And hence they helped me with the ISO certification, the quality management. And I must say, they do say it's something you must have, but it did change my business, having that in place. Because when you have your processes in place, you can travel, you can go and find more business, your staff then can follow those processes that's there.
Mokgosi.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about the Digital Hub.
Well, I think the Digital Hub's mandate is to support young ICT companies.
Right.
Provision of different ways, non-funding. The amount of sweat capital that is needed beyond funding, because you need to have the right knowledge of your environment. You need to have the correct, specified, trajectory that you will be following.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond a business plan. With the women enterprises, especially in the ICT sector, there is a bit of a lack of confidence. So how do we then, support that? Our main company, Softstart BTI, has a good relationship with the Innovator Trust, and we have to trust on their experience, because we are only a year old.
Right.
So we don't really understand some of the pitfalls of trying to, become a soft landing for a business and a support function. So I think there is a lot of growth that we still have to have, but yeah, we are really sitting in a very soft ground to implant great ideas.
When we started this journey with Innovator Trust, the aim was to call on ICT companies, youth and women.
Right.
But when we started doing our researches, we found that there isn't a lot of youth or young companies in the Free State. There isn't, I also still stand to be corrected, there isn't any ICT companies woman-owned in the Free State. I then was baffled that I could potentially be the only female ICT company in the Free State.
Fully functional.
Fully functional. And I was quite sad, because I'm like, where are the ladies? I know there's incubations, I know there's programs, I know that there's young people that have been trained by Innovator Trust, but where are they? Where are these companies? The trend in the province is that things happen in Joburg, and if a Joburg person comes to the province doing it is well good and it must be a success. You can come up with a brilliant idea. We can come up with a platform like this, invite everyone that you know in the business, and they will not show up. And that is a limited mentality, because if you're not from Joburg, if you're not from Cape Town, you do not know what you're doing. So it's one of the barriers, and even if you try to create a network within ourselves, we are not able to work together. For some reason. I think it's a curse. That is why I think it is very difficult for women in ICT to take up courage and say, I'm going to start up a company. I'm not very technical myself, but being on a program or an incubation program like this one had taught me soft skills, you know, how to run the business, financial management for non-financial people. They took me to Gibbs and we did negotiation skills.
Yeah.
That is something that we would need, but I didn't think I would go to Gibbs to just learn that skill. And also I didn't think it's a skill that I needed. I mean, when you start a business, you are ICT, you are accountant, you are the clerk, you are reception, you are everybody. You know, we always think of money. Yeah, no, I need 10 million to start a business. No, you need soft skills that will help you to approach people and be able to be professional enough to get that 10 million.
In terms of the universities, like myself, I come from Central University of Technology.
Right.
And within the universities, you have programs whereby they teach about this entrepreneurship. But you find that as a young person, when you come out of university, in the industry already, there are people that are there. So when you come as an SMME, you are still a little child to them. So it's a network also. They have grouped themselves. You find those kinds of situations to say, okay, who knows who? And that's how things are getting done. And you're still here. So it's difficult to penetrate through the market.
How do we make opportunities available where they are very limited? Because he's mentioning that system.
There was a large corporate and there was an RFP.
Right.
I then won, not the whole one. They split the work between a few big companies and then myself. But the criteria they brought around my company was, we first want you, even though I was installing alarms for more than 14 years, 15 years, they wanted to test us first. I could have said no and fight against it, but I went to go and do it because I want the work. I have to now prove to them. So the only question I posed to them via email is, did all the companies that's on your books, did they all go through this? Did you also give them a test to go and do? So I went to go and do that. Obviously I impressed them because I am like that. So,
Come on,
so I
yes.
ticked all the boxes, so they could not say anything,
Right.
but give us the work. I knew everything of the administration side of the business,
Right.
so I had to go learn the technical side. Because when I walk into a corporate, I can then talk about my business and I know my product. And that's how they said, oh, you're not just a woman, but you know your stuff,
Right.
you know? So that's the only thing. You always have to know your product and know what you're talking about. And that put me on another level with them by asking me questions. Can your company do this? And that and that and that, you know? So yeah, but you get judged all the time.
For some reason, people out there still think women are not capable.
Yeah.
So it becomes a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
That we have to all the time have to prove ourselves.
Things like that. How do we organize and have, a lobby group, if you want to put it that way? Although those are very, technical, because once a bid comes in, people now take for themselves and then they leave. But how do we, create that platform to have role models?
Right.
I think we are lacking that in the Free State. Hence, most young girls, after they get their ICT qualifications, instead of going to business, they go under somebody else, or they go and look at corporate.
Moeketsi, the stats say in the first 2 years, an SMME fails. Do you think compliance plays a barrier?
It really does, in a lot of things. Like when we started, we want to do automation. so that you can turn your lights from your phone or do so many things. You need COC. So if we get like big contracts, we were not able to do them because of the compliance. Last year we took a chance just to apply for the discretionary grant to MICT SETA without the accreditation.
Right.
They gave it to us, but we were not able to do the job. We had to
Outsource.
appoint someone who has the accreditation. So the money still is not coming to us.
Most big corporates, they have a program, a small business support program. Through that, I get the other accreditations that I need in order to work with them. So I go on the ED program, and then they will graduate me to SD. That's how I grow
From
within
one
them.
point
Yeah.
to
There's an SMME and cooperatives. You know, the implementation of all these beautiful legislators are falling by the wayside because there's, as I said, we need to be more organized. Because if we have to wait for the ICT Commission or Triple BEE Commission to come and help us, they don't know our problems here. I mean, as Lerato would know, that the industry, or the ICT industry in the Free State, I mean in Bloemfontein alone, Bloemfontein, Bethlehem, is massive, but dominated by white people. And there is nobody who's holding them accountable for that 30% or, you know, the skills or the ED opportunities, as you spoke about. Nobody is holding them accountable because, you know, nobody is saying that I'm here, I want an opportunity. How do we make, you know, the landing a bit better for our women ICT, for our young entrepreneurs, so that we don't lose the skills, because literally now we are losing the skills. The implementation of those policies and legislative frameworks, who is responsible to hold somebody accountable for? You know, so we have to be more organized. We have to have, as you say, people who can actually implement. Because it's scary to go to an iTech and say, you need to you know, share the piece of the pie, and then they say bring somebody's profile.
Yes.
And then now we are looking around.
That's why you have to collaborate.
Exactly.
Very important.
Very
so that
important.
you have enough capacity in order to show them.
We have to know the players
Yeah.
and how to grow each other. Like you're saying, you've moved now from a 4 and confidently to a 60 because you know that even if you don't have the equipment, there's somebody you can quickly call.
I'm just a startup moving into that industry. And obviously, I'll have to also go to them and say, sorry, how do we work with you so that you can support me as big businesses? So collaboration for me is quite important.
And I had this idea to partner with a company that is already a guarding company. I then absorbed that company with the assets, management and everything. I immediately had 1,500 guards. I could walk into any corporate and say, yeah, I am. We now trading into Zambia, Botswana, the DRC. We've also just, not that I want to brag, but
come on, please.
Our business is a matter of commitment and saying you can do things. Like you saying, 20%, we can be able to do it. Last year we did our first annual competition. When I was at Guinea, I was like, in October, in Bloemfontein, we are doing a second annual competition, and it's an African competition. It has not been done. We're still in the thinking phase.
Yes.
But I told them that we're going to do it. So this year I'm inviting the international countries to participate in the competition of robotics in Free State, not in Gauteng. We have to improve Free State. We have to show those people in Joburg that we are the state of art. We are at the heart of the
We're
country.
the center of the country.
Everyone should come to the center.
We're the center of the country.